Hey, what is up, everybody? Let's recap Wednesday because there's no games yesterday. Let's get into it. My initial prediction of DeJounte Murray to go under on his PRA ended up hitting. By the end of the day, if you looked in the pinned comments, I ended up changing it to his rebounds and assist line, which was set at 17.5. Should have just stuck with my gut, really, on that one. My gut really told me to go under on the PRA, but I'll count it as a loss. I guess I did end up switching it by the end of the day. Terry Rozier. Minute and 19 seconds left in the game. They're down 26 points. He's got 18 points. He comes in, he went into half with 5. And he had 0 points up until like the last 2 minutes of the game, or up until like the last 2 minutes of the first half. And then he ended up scoring a quick 3 and a quick layup to give him 5 at the half. So he still had a solid 15 or 16 points to go in the second half. I think he scores like a layup or something, like a 3 in the third quarter, ends up having like 7 in the fourth quarter. Like I said, down 26, a minute 19 seconds left, has 18 points. Smacks the 3 to go over by half a point. That's just tough. And then our CJ McCollum lock of the day from Wednesday hit in the first half. CJ McCollum went bananas. I think he had 27 in the first half or something like that the other day. So that one was a crazy lock that hit for us real early. So we'd love to see that. So a 1-2 day on Wednesday. Got a good slate of games today. It's win and you're in. So let's get it today. Real quick, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, make sure that you there's a link down in the description I have that automatically takes you to the App Store where you can download Underdog Fantasy. Also throws in my TAKEMYSHOT code when you guys sign up for that. So when you make your first deposit, it helps me out big time, as well as it gives you a 100% deposit match up to $100. So if you throw in $20, for example, you'll get actually $40, and they'll give you another $20 free just to bet on for funsies, a little risk-free bets for fun. And so that is always nice as well to get those risk-free bets. Also helps me out, like I said, big time if you guys use my code TAKEMYSHOT. Because all my picks every single day are always going to be Underdog Fantasy picks. I think it's the best player prop betting app out there. With that being said, now let's get to today's picks. All right, baby, coming to hop with the lock of the day. Let's get it. CJ McCollum slaps for us last time in our lock of the day on April 13th on Wednesday. Today we're coming in hot with a player playing CJ McCollum today. Give me a Los Angeles Clipper man fresh off injury. He's been averaging 4.2 threes a game. Give me Paul George over 3.5 threes per game. Like I said, averaging 4.2 threes since he's come back from injury. He's been shooting the heck out of the 3 ball, and he's been burying it like crazy. Crazy enough, because if you guys remember, back in the beginning of the season, Paul George was playing games before he injured his elbow and missed the entirety of the rest of the season. So he did match up with the Pelicans earlier in the season. He took 14 threes in that game and just managed to hit 3 of them, but he took 14, which means he got a wild variety of shots up. Like, he was obviously getting good looks, obviously getting a lot of open threes. So I'm anticipating a little bit of the same thing again here tonight. Hopefully he can hit more than 3 out of those 14. We just need him to hit 4 of those tonight. He's hit that on just about every game he's hit this year. He's averaging, just in about every game he's played since the injury. He's averaging 4.2 since the injury. This one looks like a pretty solid lock for me. I like Paul George over 3.5 threes today versus the New Orleans Pelicans for our lock of the day. All right, next up, give me Darius Garland over 8.5 assists here. Here's the thing. If Jarrett Allen plays, which as of 9 minutes ago, Jarrett Allen went through shoot-around this morning, okay? So Jarrett Allen, if Darius Garland has Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, Lauri Markkanen, and Karis LeVert, easily give me over 8.5 assists for Darius Garland, okay? When Garland and Allen are on the floor, the lob threats are crazy. The defense has got to crash in on Allen because he's going to throw those lobs up to him. So that leaves up wide open Lauri Markkanen in the corner, leaves Evan Mobley open at the top of the key, and Karis LeVert open at the top of the wing. Darius Garland is going to be able to, orchestrate that offense and feast and dish and dime. If he has all his weapons like that, he'll get back up into that double-digit assist category like he was doing earlier in the season when they had Mobley, when they had everybody healthy, plus the addition of Karis LeVert now. So I'm loving Darius Garland over 8.5 assists if Jarrett Allen plays. Right now, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good right now. So I love this play over 8.5 assists. If Allen, some reason, doesn't play, we have one that I'm going to sub in for it, but I like this one a lot for Darius Garland. Next up, give me Brandon Ingram. Give me under 23.5 points for Brandon Ingram. Yeah, I said under. Brandon Ingram's line is set only at 23.5, and he dropped 27 in their first play-in game. That tells you something because today he's taking on Paul George. In his 15 career games versus Paul George, Brandon Ingram is only averaging 15.7 points and has only hit over 24 points twice. 2 out of those 15 games has Brandon Ingram hit his line versus Paul George. Paul George, obviously an elite defender, locks up Brandon Ingram when it comes down to it. Only makes about 6 shots a game, opposed to his 13 that he's taking. So really, he's not even getting up that many shots, and obviously he's not making many shots. Only averaging 15 points per game versus Paul George. So I really like this play in an under for Brandon Ingram versus Paul George tonight, or under 23.5 points. Which means if Brandon Ingram isn't going to be putting up the points, then it's got to be CJ McCollum. You know, I gave this Clippers perimeter defense probably a little bit too much credit the other day. Ant and D'Lo dropped a combined 59 on the Clippers perimeter defense the other night. So I'm liking the chances for CJ McCollum once again to have another big game. His line is set at 25.5 points, and we're going to take the over. I like the over for CJ McCollum today versus the Clippers defense. They have great defenders on the perimeter. They do. But CJ McCollum has been in his bag lately. Obviously, he's like I said last video, he's the veteran. He's going to be the primary offensive weapon. They're not going to be able to match up Paul George on CJ McCollum, because if they do, then Brandon Ingram's going to eat. And I'm assuming they'd much rather try to contain Brandon Ingram with Paul George and try to leave Reggie Jackson, those guys on the perimeter, to try to match up with CJ McCollum. So I'm liking the chances for CJ McCollum to be that guy again. Hopefully, he can score 26 again in the first half, 27 points. I like to see that. Probably won't happen, but if it does, that'd be fantastic. So I'm liking CJ McCollum over 25.5 points. Based upon how Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell were able to carve up that perimeter defense, hopefully CJ McCollum can do the same exact thing. So I'm liking it over 25.5 for CJ McCollum today. And for anybody wondering why I haven't thrown anything at, the Hawks lately, the Hawks are just one of those teams, bro. Obviously Trae Young is the leader of that team, right? But they switch their starting lineups so often. Sometimes Kevin Huerter comes off the bench. Sometimes what's the other guy's name? Sometimes Danilo Gallinari starts. Sometimes DeAndre Hunter gets to start. Sometimes he comes off the bench. Like, they really sometimes Bogdanovic gets to start. Like, they really fluctuate their starting lineup a whole lot. So their other guys, their role players, have big games sometimes. Like the other day, DeAndre Hunter had like a 14-point third quarter, something like that, versus the Hornets. Those guys just flip back and forth. Sometimes Kevin Huerter, sometimes he has big games. Like, those guys are they're really iffy, wishy-washy back and forth. Like, you don't know who's going to have the big game. Like, there's going to be a guy. One of these, either DeAndre Hunter or Kevin Huerter is going to have a big game tonight, I'm sure. But it's hard to predict which one is going to, because in their past matchups this season between Atlanta and Cleveland, Kevin Huerter had a couple good games. DeAndre Hunter had a couple good games. Even Trae Young had a 40-point game in there earlier versus Cleveland this season. So both back and forth have had big games, as well as Jared Allen had like a 15-rebound game. Clint Capella had like a 23-rebound game earlier this season. So just a lot of like inconsistencies, and I don't like inconsistency when it comes to betting my props. So I like to see consistency. So the lines I'm going to give you guys today are the lines that have shown consistency. So here's what we're going to do here. I'm going to make a perfect 3-slip, okay? This will be the 3-slip without Garland, because as of right now, Jared Allen isn't official yet. So our 3-slip right now will be without Garland, okay? Once the Allen status does come into play here, we will most likely swap out Garland for Ingram, and then we'll make that the perfect 3-slip. But for now, our perfect 3-slip will be Paul George over 3.5 threes, Brandon Ingram under 23.5 points, and CJ McCollum over 25.5 points. And again, like I said, if Allen becomes available, we'll take out Brandon Ingram's under, okay, because I know people don't like unders, and we'll throw in Darius Garland's over 8.5 assists with his full starting lineup, full healthy roster. And I'm liking the chances for Garland to hit that line. Just want to see what happens there. I wouldn't even be surprised if they say Allen is healthy and he is going to play, that his line goes up to like 9.5. I wouldn't be surprised by it at all. With that being said, guys, that is going to be today's perfect 3-slip. Paul George over 3.5 threes, Brandon Ingram under 23.5 points, and CJ McCollum over 25.5 points today. All right, guys, and with that being said, that's going to be today's video. Should be fun one tonight between these 4 teams. Play-in tournament finales for these 2 teams. Win and you're in. It doesn't get much better than that in the world of basketball for win and you're in. Still getting a couple things fixed up here at the new apartment, at the new condo. But we're getting it all figured out. It's been really nice weather. We had a really big rainstorm the other day, which I like rainstorms. I think they're cool. Thank you guys for sticking with me here. I know that we've kind of come down just a little bit just because of the inconsistency of games and stuff like that, but it'll come, it'll go. With that being said, guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll catch you tomorrow most likely. See ya.